Now, this doesn't guarantee that Juju Watkins is going to score the most points in D1 history, but she just scored the most points in her first 2 seasons in D1 history when it comes to women's basketball. Yes, more than Caitlin Clark. And all I'm going to say is that I've been saying this for a minute. I think Caitlin Clark is an amazing basketball player, don't get me wrong, but I think Juju Watkins is probably going to be better. Juju Watkins is bigger, a much better defender, and can score at an equally high rate. Her teams are also better than Iowa was in Clark's first 2 years. I mean, Juju Watkins might literally win a championship this season. And USC has beat UCLA, a team that was number 1 in the country, twice. 2 times. They beat a team that many of us thought was the consensus number 1 women's basketball team in the nation. If USC does the right thing, if they avoid injuries, they could compete for a championship this year. Which means that would put Juju's championships at 1, and of course Caitlin Clark's championships at 0. Now, I get that in that discussion you do need a lot of context. I 100% get that. But if you just look at the players side by side, let's just consider giving offense to Caitlin Clark, right? If we look at just about every other facet of the game, everything on defense is going to be Juju Watkins by a long shot. She's a shot blocker, she can get you 2+ steals a game, and she's a much bigger guard. She's going to have a much easier time getting off her shot against WNBA competition. Not to mention, if you do say that Caitlin is better on offense, it's not by a large margin. Juju Watkins is quite literally 27 points per game. This year she's averaging around 25. Her freshman season she averaged around 27. Now, of course, Juju does still have some weaknesses in her game. She's not the greatest 3-point shooter in the world, not the greatest shooter in general, and her left side is a little bit of a weakness sometimes. Let's just call it for what it is. Now, think about those 2 weaknesses. Those weaknesses are enough to possibly stop a player from being amazing. But no, Juju Watkins still goes out, averages 25+ points a game, and is obviously the best defensive player on the court. And those are just the things I can list off the top of my head right now. With that being said, Caitlin Clark was great. Juju Watkins could possibly be better. She deserves a lot more coverage than she's getting.